Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome back to another Saturday video for you. Delivery from Spain and Canada, just if you're wondering. And we're going to be talking about something special tonight. We were having a conversations about the ignition, because people were asking, and we were talking about and rediscovering our ignition. So it is about that the journey is beginning long before actually your ignition. We're going to be talking about this because you have to be ready for the ignition. Okay. So uh, the events that trigger the ignition with the soul connections in there, they have to be coming in there. So you kind of like a dive in a little bit, but then all of a sudden you rise up. And when the ignition comes in, it's that igniting the power of the soul. When it comes in, that ignition leads you to incredible, powerful life changes. And one of those it will be no fear. You will understand that you should have no fear. And this is what the power of the ignition is to remove the fears, to get them out of your process in there, but at the same times to have no fear of the changes that's gonna come in with the process of ignitions within the soul. It's gonna give you a lot of power. It's gonna give you a lot of things. But that's today we are gonna be talking about what was the journey and how things is and so on. We're gonna have a great discussions. To remind you that you can ask any questions about this or can share here in the chat. So that's what the chat is open for you. And without further ado, I'm giving you the mic to Paulina. Hi, baby.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Thanks for coming to the chat as always. Those chats are for you. Um, so you can ask, you can share, you can maybe get some new ideas for your journey. But we wanted to give a little bit broader overview and maybe encourage you to go back in time within your journey because we just tend to think that anything that happened before the whole experience, it was not really your life. It was some kind of like preparation stage that you don't even have to um, think about or look into more details. Well, for some people, it may be that those experiences that were piling up until the moment of awakening, they suddenly begin to make sense. For example, like you will start realizing why you were experiencing similar dynamics even way before the ignition. That the person who you feel like a twin flame or catalyst or anything that really triggered your spiritual awakening, they had some bits and pieces of the things that didn't work out in the past, or you had some unhealthy behaviors or unhealthy um, ways of maybe attaching to people. So it really helps to a take off the pressure of just you put this magnifying glass only on one connection and just you research it like from all the possible angles and you completely you forget about yourself most importantly, but also you forget about smaller pieces of your life that it's included in your journey. So it's maybe like that's what our goal to really maybe encourage you to lose the focus temporarily for what's happening with your current connection and see if it can help you to understand the whole picture, why you were coming here in the first place, what kind of background you were coming in, what kind of other relationships, or maybe not even relation connections you were trying to get into. This is very precious, especially if you try to see it from a more psychological view, because those attachments, for example, that you're going through within your twin flame dynamic, there is a chance that you were trying to do that with the same people over and over, but just the only difference is the moment of ignition, you're really entering also with this full awareness and very often with full emotional body. That's potentially the difference between what was happening with your life before and then bam, you cross some boundary, and then you're with your full awareness. So yeah, that's just the opening, and hopefully it's gonna be useful for some, because as we said, it's not about living in a past, but just seeing this as a whole story, not cherry pick the elements that it's, oh, this is the most exciting, let's just wrap the whole idea about twin flame journey about this specific moment and just hang on to that. It's like there's so many different pieces that can give you the idea of who you are and why you were experiencing certain people, certain connections.
Oh, very good topic today, guys. Hopefully, you have some questions for us. When I was listening to Paulina in there, at some point, the journey it's gonna be asking you because the journey is gonna get heavy. Maybe at some point, maybe a lot of things is gonna come into you, and you're gonna be reminded why did you got awakened in the first place. So you're gonna be looking at the stage just a little bit before awakening. What triggers that awakening within you? What are you not happy in your life? What is your life was not what you thought it was? What is that thing that inside of you that you were not completed? You're gonna feel like what was it that completed within you? What was that things that you wanted to be more? You knew something is different in there, and whatever you projected in a picture of it to your mind, how your life should be in there, all of a sudden is not, and then that energy of not finding that reality in there, it brings you down to look of the reality as it is and what is disagreement within the soul. When you find a disagreement in there within your soul, then the soul is like, oh, you finally pay attention within me. Oh, you finally stop doing the things. You finally stop satisfaction your life about society, about satisfied your husband, wife, or satisfied your workers, or satisfied something. You totally abandon your soul. So now you go back and you look at it. It's like you're realizing you're abandoning your soul, and your soul is like, I got you. They could go back and look at it in the soul. And when that energy of the soul begins to it, the soul is going to tell you what is going to take you to get yourself ignite. What is going to make you happy? What is going to be with this? And then you will put, usually that's what happens, is like somebody to understand me who I am as a soul. And that's how the soul begins to, I got the key. You got the key. You know what you're looking for. You know what you needed it for. Okay? Because the people at work, the people in society, the people that you're living with, it, karmic relationships I'm talking about here. Okay? They didn't have that. They didn't understand that the primary what you need to look at in there is the soul. So now the soul is going to be taken to the journey. And now the soul connecting to the universe creates your ignition. But it's going to be a moment of time when you already evolved, you're at the end of the journey, you already got what you needed to do, and you're about to perform. Then the soul is going to ask you, do you happy with what the work you've done? And now you're going to go back in there and you're going to be seeking the journey before you awaken. The reasons that you are awakened, the reasons that you already fed up, you already was in there. How did you do it? How successful you are? How practicing can that is? Did the soul help you to achieve what you want? Are you are happy? Because the soul wants to have this happy experience with you as a soul living on earth. And when you get in that energies in there, you're going to be reviewing those moments, okay? Because those moments are very crucial for you to finalizing your eternal happiness here as a soul.
Mm.
Oh, it's interesting moments, and a lot of the people don't realize this. But back in the days, even today, there was it came to me that it's the ladder of Jacob. Jacob was dreaming as the angels goes up the ladder, they go up to the God, to the light, and then they come down to the ladder. It's the same thing is within you, that process of the journey. And that's what the journey is. You go up the ladder and you go down the ladder. And when you go down, you see what else is it, and then you're gonna go up again the ladder, you're gonna go down again. Happens quite a few times until you figure it out the happiness in there within your soul, leading it, giving the power, whatever it's heavy on you, to give back, to send it into the universe. Okay, something you cannot handle it, give it to the universe because the universe is okay. This is too much for that soul experience. Let me take the burdens away. I'm gonna give it a different experience. But when at the moment is given a different experience, a lot of the people, what do? They don't realize that there has to be an energies exchange. They need to do something about it. Okay? When you are given, you also have to be, you have to give in too. All right? So look at within yourself. Look at in your journey is going to be coming in a moment of life that you are going to be review the whole thing. There. Back to you, love.
Yeah, I just reminded myself that we've done some more videos, like very specific videos about, we call it stages. And it's on our channel. I think it's in a playlist that we really try to focus on the specific parts that we kind of touching base today. But maybe if someone feels more interested, you can go into playlist just to see what we talked about. I think that the series ended on like not the union, the ignition. Like that was the last that we've done. So that's just a reminder. But when you were explaining those letters, especially how we're going up and down, it kind of was coming to me. Similarly, we are involved in some people, not everyone, but some people are involved in like multiple connections, and they start recognizing. So it's like you try to build this kind of dynamics that are not proper in the first place, and to the moment of ignition. When ignition comes into place, you're turning on emotionally and consciously. That's the only difference, really, I feel, comparing to those unhealthy dynamics that you tend to repeat without even having any idea of spirituality and soul connections and anything. We just like to call it karmic. We call it karmic because there is no consciousness involved in this. But those letters, you can see that how many times did you try to get engaged into something that is more conscious, more aware. Sometimes you felt like going there. You tried to build something in a proper way. For whatever reason, it didn't work out. If it didn't work out, it's a lesson for you to try build it a little bit differently. But most of the times, I'm talking right now after ignition, once this consciousness comes into place, there is this moment that you are engaged in third energy. What are you going with to do with this? Well, like sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't, sometimes we still make mistakes. But this moment of being in the top, that is this moment of this very intense exchange. And that's how it's, you're just gonna go through these letters like over and over until you finally get it, until you start realizing that it's all cycles, and it's all up to you to decide, okay, when is this stop to, that's gonna be my last letter for now. That's gonna be the connection I'm trying to build. And let's put aside labels for a little bit. Let's try not to overanalyze it. Let's just, we both recognize it. There's some consciousness that it's included, universe supports, and just let's try to build it. And let's try to build it right, because I've had so many ladders in the past. Like it's just, let's just do it right. So I think this is interesting to see how this nice triangle is being formed between two people and universe, because it was coming to me also as an example from other people. And that's going back to the ignition state, when you have someone that feels so deeply connected. But is the universe consciously connected to you too? Like, do you really recognize it? And very often, this first ignition has nothing to do with conscious connection with the universe. Like, third energy is present, but you don't recognize it. As you go along the journey and start to experiment more, and maybe some other connections are coming, what can happen is you will start recognizing the third party, like the involvement of universe, because the synchronicities are there, so you're starting to feel guided. But there might be some missing link in terms of that person doesn't feel right, that person still has some unhealthy issues, because your awareness is increasing, so you're more cautious, and there will be something kind of like starting to pop up. But because of different reasons, you may choose not to connect with this person because you feel this is not what I wish for myself. Yes, it's orchestrated by the universe, just to showing me the process. But for whatever reason, this is your choice. You may not decide to go with this person. So this triangle still cannot be shaped. But fortunately for many people, and I believe like for everyone who is doing the journey right, there should be scenario that you recognize the connection, the universe is present, and you feel you click with this person. You feel the person did their work, and they are kind of ticking all of their boxes. That I'm not talking about material possessions, anything like that. Those core values that you developed yourself, you recognize that in this person. And at the same time, the universe is present because you both have done enough work to recognize it consciously. And that's what your next ladder is, that you try to build. But you see, I'm not talking about any labels here. Like, I'm not telling, oh, that's gonna be your next twin flame. No, it's gonna be just complete relationship that's gonna be forming, and you may decide to take a risk, or not risk, like take your chance with this and try to build it, not to mess it up on the way.
Even yeah, looking at yourself of this ignition states. Okay. First of all, you have to remember that the universe ignites your soul. And when they ignite your soul, it is about basing of your experience, it giving you a new experience. When the connection is between the two people, okay, and they both recognizing this connections, they both getting into this energies in there, uh, how they're going to be proceeding. If you cannot, they cannot both walk up that ladder up to the divine in there. The one is going to fall off, and the divine knows why it cannot. Either it's going to be, as Paulina said, those check boxes in there. Are you aware of? So you need to understand that when you're going into the journey in there, a lot of the people, what do? They're either going to drop down and wait for that person, okay, or be on the ladder and getting stuck in that ladder. They don't move up, but they don't go down. They're just waiting for that person to come in. While the soul says, like, I'm not happy, I'm not good, I'm not great. So you see, your first of all, you have to look at your personal experience in there and your personal reason why would you went to that journey. Okay. And if the person doesn't want to choose you, with you going up into that ladder and Jacob together in the journey in there is nothing you can do about it. Okay. But as we talking about this journey that it's there, be mindful about the setting up this kind of like a requirement. There's gonna be a moment of before you awaken, where the soul is gonna ask you, what are you gonna be looking for? What are you trying to be happy with? What is going to make you happy? You see, the soul is gonna ask you. And I believe that everyone who is on a soul awakening process and a soul awakening journey in there, it doesn't matter if we're not talking about twin flames and so on and so on. When you awaken your soul, the soul is asking you, and you set something, some kind of like a requirements. And guess what? The universe makes it happen. But out of that, to make it happen, the unhealed patterns maybe come out, as a Paulina was talking about it, and you are not ready to go with it. But the journey triggers that healed patterns, and then you go up in the ladders. So this is why that soul relationships education is needed in the world. One other thing was that back in the days, I'm talking about it, even when I was making the first video on my channel, I stayed at We need educations on this. There was no educations. We're talking about pretty much 12 years ago. I was looking at him like, man, I've been in 12 years in this journey. Whoa, look at that, right? But now, as we are seeing it, we went to the ladder, we are going down to the ladder. But as a couple, we're understanding that what we have to see is the reasons we went up to the ladder in the first place. We are seeing it that journey before the awakening. And when you see those patterns right now since you went up and it went down and you see the patterns, now you know how to act on the patterns, not like before. So your soul that was not happy of your karmic relationships in there, now your soul knows how to act upon it. Okay? So for some, this is gonna be the ladder that's gonna be go up into the source and come down to the source as a single, which is 90% of it. But for some people, they're gonna be walking it together in the same path, in the same way. They're not gonna be the one that goes on the first step and then the other is on the next step. You might have similar things, but 90% is gonna be next to each other. You're walking to the journey. So when you go up in the ladders, in there, you might meet some people. You might meet some situations. You might meet some or similar people like you. You might connect to a people like you because you're on the same frequency level in there, right? But as the happiness in the soul, it is the primary concern because the soul asks you, what's gonna make you happy? Because I see you suffering, but you're also suppressing me. You see that missing is there. That this is the reason why you're waking in the first place to unified with your soul. Okay, so take a look at it. The journey before the awakening is gonna be determining the success that you went through the ladder. If you haven't succeed, you're gonna go up the ladder again. But this time you're going out not unaware of, not like I don't know what it's coming, not what it is. Now you're gonna know because you already walked the road once, twice, three times until you actually bring that heaven on earth. But first you have to go to the heaven, right? As this song of Brian Adams comes in, I'll die and go to heaven.
Mm.
A beautiful song that comes in. And then after that, she sings like we are in heaven. A very beautiful song. Maybe gonna post it after the video. Post it underneath the video so people can see the energy. Um,
Mm.
yeah.
No, that's probably a good summary of those touching the heaven, and then what do you do with this heaven? Like if you still have triggers, it's gonna be hard. Sometimes we're gonna be losing touch. Just with this, like we still have our own triggers and we have our old patterns, but it's a process. Like these letters, that's a good thing about those connections. Those letters, they are pretty sturdy. When the third energy starts to become more active within the connection, because both people want to work with that, it serves as additional protection, you can call it. It's not gonna be that fragile. So and I believe that's the purpose of those energies. Like they really don't want to waste the potential. So if they see two people working together, um, they also recognize the hardship. So it's like additional buffer that you can be sure that it's not gonna just dissolve right away. Of course, if you get overboard and you do something like really against your soul, or that it's really not according to this highest goods, there might be some bad moments. But in general, the way I feel about our connection, especially, it's just if things are tough, either we get the directions or it's just I can see like external how do we call it, help or intervention. So That's a good thing. But just going back to the topic of this, what happened even before, it's really the ignition happens just to surface everything that you tend to be doing wrong as you unconscious human. So that's why you may see, like, one example it comes to me that it's easier to understand is we sometimes tend to attract unavailable people based on our fears, or based on our, maybe that's the template that we got from our parents, or for whatever reason, that you always you were chasing someone that you didn't even know that they were interested in you. And just to remind everyone, this is a very common dynamic that we are here as a twin flames, because we like to call it very spiritually running, chasing. And sometimes we may forget that we tend to do it. We tended to do that even way before that. Maybe even when we were teenagers, we used to do that. That we felt safe chasing after someone who is not able to get back to us with our feelings, because we didn't know how to process them properly. So just reminder to everyone, it's just, this is the whole picture. You're gathering those different puzzles. And then there's the moment of awakening. You start to create a picture from those puzzles. But then to understand yourself better, you have to just get back in time a little bit, just to really understand why you were making those choices in the first place. Because the ignition state, or this initial connection that it's starting you in the journey, it's just meant to awake you to this understanding that you were doing something wrong with your life. Like you were compromising your values, your maybe respect, all of those things. Like you were just really forgetting about some main values within the relationships, within the connections with other people. So it's like a gentle kick in the butt, so you can actually start seeing, okay, finally I got my more awareness. Like I feel this, whatever ignition connection I have right now, it's just filled apart, and you start analyzing it, but then you just start forgetting why you tended to repeat certain cycles. So maybe that's how it's explaining it better, that especially it takes off this emotional load from this catalytic experience that it's begin, because that's what we try to also help people with, just to help them to step back from their emotional bodies, so their soul can start speaking to them more easily. Because for whatever reason, emotional bodies are creating like very strong block from our internal communication with our soul. So that's, yeah, that's always precious, to just try to train this objectivity, and just implement some logic, some analysis into your journey. Not be afraid. Spirituality is not always about, oh, just following your intuition. It's just, we are meant to put all the different pieces together, and none of those pieces cannot go overboard if we are talking about internal unions.
Yeah, a lot of things coming up when you were talking, baby. Thank you. Um, it's beautiful when you have um, relationships that you can be your true self in there. But you gonna be revising journey one way or another. There's gonna be some time that you have to really see at the reasons. Uh, yeah, as Paulina said, you may be attracting unavailable people. Let me tell you why you are attracting unavailable people. You are unavailable to somebody else. So you have to learn how to be available, to be open, to be truthful, to express, like, hey, I see that you like me, but I don't have this and there. Some of the people have issues of even they say no, no, because of the codependency in there. Some of the people may have emotional situations. You need to understand that your emotions in there, they can be produced from the lower self or the higher self. How do you feel when you got awakened and you sense the energies within the journey? And the ignition, what it does, you never fire up your soul. You never been in there within the soul. And now the soul it's in fire. and you understand what? The immortality. So it's nothing going on if you being the right person within you. But again, the journey is going to be asking you back. Did you accomplish what you were set out to do? You're going to be feeling these things inside of you, within yourself. The feelings in there, they are only based of your tuition and your life experiences. Okay? While the soul is asking you to look at it and overcome, first of all, your lower energies. That could be silence, hatred, aggravations in there. That could be some of those lower energies. How can you turn it into a positive? How can you balance yourself? What is going to help you? And this is why the soul is leading you on that journey. But the soul is going to be asking you at some point, are you happy with what you've done? Are you satisfied within there? And the only way you're going to find that out is we are in a peace. Because you did the most important job within yourself. Had that soul experience on earth properly. You see, when you are trying to going on within the society, or you're trying to satisfy your bosses, because your job is important, because otherwise no job, no survival, right? Okay? Then you have to try to satisfy everyone in the family. Guess how that turns out, right? When you're not available in there, you try to go ahead and live a life, but there is no time for you, no time for your soul, right? So now you begin to understand why the journey is coming in. It's telling you that it's got to be a balance, because in overall, we stop respecting other people's souls. We're looking at our bosses as like we are codependent on them. We're looking at to the work that we are gonna be like, you don't have the freedoms in there. We're not looking at within a soul to soul, to work. If there was a soul to soul work environment connections is in there at work, and you're respecting everyone as a soul, guess what? How is the workflow is gonna be? A lot of the people don't realize this. Even the businesses, they don't realize it in there. And when we start talking about with everything that it comes in life, with this perspectives, the soul it's tired of the fake stuff, of the codependency. The soul was tired, and that's what the journey of the soul it says like, let me show you what I have for you. Let me show you the other side of the coin. How can you be happy? Let me show you the happiness. And when it shows you the happiness, it shows you that beautiful power, love. It shows you this power of the souls in there. That beautiful how it's supposed to work. And then all of a sudden the things go south. Because right now, lack of education, you don't know how to navigate it. You're going to mess that up. Or the person is going to mess it up, or whatever it is. But the soul is awakening. It's taking you on a journey. It's going to say like, come on, let me get you. Okay? So with this energies awakening, guys, always, did you were able to overcome your old self right there. The happiness of an old self. Because you're going to find out that certain things you're going to keep in from the old self during the ignition. Some of the things, though, there will be no go. Your ability and capabilities of the growth is going to be coming to the quality of your ability and capability of let it go. And then when you come back down, going there, you're going to make a great, not good, great evaluations. And you'll be happy for the journey. And you'll want to be going more within the journey. Because you see, you went through that ladder the first time, but you went to a certain point and you decided to calm down. Then you go back into the ladder and it's gonna go up into the next ladder that exists. Okay, because those Jacob ladders, they have levels. They're not just one ladder. Okay, for those of you who want to know that it's not only one ladder, there is not only one dimensions in the spiritual realms. There is so many of them. You're passing the thresholds, and when you go into a 7D, the seventh dimension, the angelic realms in there, most of the people that go to the 6D, it's that great area that if your soul hasn't done the job, you go back down to reincarnations and echo. Once you're crossing the seventh heaven, there's going to be some more ladders in there if you think that way. But right now, let's stick it out to the material lives out here within a journey. The reasons why you awaken. The reasons why you awaken is going to be giving you the quality of your journey, your ability to surrender to that journey. The soul is going to help you with that. Okay? And hopefully the journey is going to be great. But when you over time overseen it in there, you go back in there, you find out that your journey began long before the awakening. Long before. You have to have this karmic experience. You have to have this energies with the people that don't respect you as a soul. You have to have those people who are pushing their agendas on you. You have to have this bad experiences so you can realize it, what is and where you are going, so you can appreciate the journey of awakening. Okay, it's going to be a moment when you're going to be appreciated this. There will be. Back to you, darling.
Yeah. I was just wondering about those multiple connections that we can have and gather, and not all of them are working out. And we sometimes we just left those things a little bit open, or we don't know what are we supposed to do with this. Like it just, am I supposed to detach fully and all of that? And it seems to me that within this our journey we have different choices. Each choice leads you to separate like timeline or separate path that your life could unfold. And if we are talking about this kind of like a broken ladders that we couldn't progress because something fell apart, we can still, the way I'm getting it right now, it's like we still can benefit from those connections that didn't work out. It's almost like we can put closure on that. So to potentially get some benefit, whatever was meant for you, for us to experience within this certain connection, if it didn't work out because we got redirected to different life path, we can say you can still try to bring yourself back to this peaceful state, meaning just really check if you're able to let go of a person, but just without putting any negativity. Because I know some people are moving like in their lives, but when you talk to them, you're sensing some amount of unprocessed grief, anger, any of those emotions. So it's like they cannot really complete the full cycle with whatever connection that they were involved in the past. And the way I see it, each of these connections, if they didn't work out, and maybe some people are sensing it the same way, each of those connections were based on different levels. I don't know if that's related to the dimensions as well, but different levels of your own evolution. So you can still benefit from the ones that they didn't work out, but they were a little bit lower. Just you need to embrace this like a closure with peace, and then you put it on shelf. But until you feel that something was happened in the past and you feel like, oh, but it just dissolved and it's over, blah blah blah, but you still feel some resentment, just check on yourself and ask yourself why you cannot just leave this story in peace, because that's the only way to really for you to close this chapter properly and continue your journey as you're going. But those unfinished business that we have in us, they seem to keep us a little bit lower, like they keep you stuck in the past a little bit. So that's what you can do to help you release yourself, just to move really. Okay, if something was not meant for me because I'm supposed to go higher, let's just move on. But let's not put negativity into the past, because it's almost like it's hard to feel gratitude and joy for having some experience if it still causes you some negative emotions and some discomfort. So that's like we have those choices, right? Like which duality we'll be using. Let's always focus on those positive and gratitudes, because that's what keeps you, redirect you on the proper path. And you put it on a shelf called soul experience, whatever, but you're having it as a positive experience, and then you move higher. So that's how we can also work around these different pieces, even since we are talking about pre-awakening. Let's try to do the same exercise with those past connections. That can you see that they were just showing you the same way as your current relationships that you're struggling. All of those, they were showing you this your inner lack of balance. And maybe you felt mistreated by the people, but can you still see them as lessons and just, with this full like let go of that, because it's gonna be very beneficial, because it's, since your soul chose that as an experience, it's not for you to be angry about it. It's not gonna serve you any purpose. All you can do is just accept your path. Okay, that's what I've chose for whatever reason. Let's move forward. So
Yeah, the journey is going to be pushing you, particularly we're talking about for multi connections. You can have a multi connections down when you went through the ladder once and you have another connection at the beginning of the bottom of the ladder and you try to walk with them, they're going to disappear. So you're going to go around again by yourself. Then you can go down and you may have another person, you're going to try to go around again. Okay? You may meet somebody in the portions of the ladder and going around, but as Paulina said, is your soul experience. Because you're through the soul, particularly the multi-soul connections, you can figure things out. It's a process. You're going to be mustering, okay? And to that mustering before you mastering, okay? Because those are kind of like I put them a little bit different in there. Okay, mustering until you understand how things work. Mastering is when once you know how you do things that works, you practice them. That's what I'm saying. That's what little clarifications of my language to you, a little bit translation, so you guys don't get confused. With this, you're gonna be seeing it, but all your soul connections in there, they're gonna be tied up of that part of life before awakening. They're gonna be tied up to this. They may be tied up to kids. They may be tied up to parents. They may be tied up to your karma. They're gonna tie it up to so many things. Okay, and then when the actual journey is gonna take you with someone and up and up and up, that soul experience, as Paulina said, that's gonna be tested out. That soul experience. And when that soul experience, you release of everything that it was in there, even if it's yours or them. Okay, nobody's perfect here. Don't make yourself a saint. You also screw things up, right? But you muster yourself. You're in a process of mustering. You're learning how things work. Okay, so is the people who have mustering what things do. So there is no good or bad experience in there as long as you get the experience and put it on a shelf as needed. Because later on, that experience becomes your manual. But that manual, when it shares within the people, it helps the people. And this is why it's so, I don't want to say crucial, critical, none of that. But there is a highly need of self-educations on that. First of all, to be as a soul, okay? And then when you're getting in there, you see what the situations are. And when you're walking with a partner, that ladder, zip, 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 one thing at a time. And you reach that higher state, you find that inner peace. You know the divine is there. Both of you are there. And then little by little, you're going down. And now you're ready to build a life. You're going to understand. You're going to go through this process. Okay? That Jacob's ladder is going to be working, first of all, in a personal level. And the second wall is going to be working in the relationship. The third time, you're probably going to end up going on that ladder, really, in the lifetime. That's going to be for particular divine spiritual experiences if you have to go again and again and again. Okay? But it's different when you're going into the ladder out because of lack of unknowing and so forth. And that's where that ignition comes in. But the ignition has the purpose to fix the things of your journey that started. So pay attention to those practical things, because once you start fixing these situations, you're gonna be a lot of the people when they get into a soul connection, they don't fix that their own issues. They don't see the reason for their own awakening. They don't see disagreements that they have. Okay? Take a look at breaking down this word. Disagreements, this with TH, and disagreements, DIS. Right? Sounds familiar to you? So when you see it, why did you disagree with your soul and why you are agreeing right now within the journey, you're going to find a lot of things. But don't be a focus when you're going with somebody else in the ladder. You should be talking, you should communicate, you should be doing it, you should understand it there. And when you start going up and up, then you will be very appreciative. Not only for the partner that the universe gave you, not only for what you've been through it. You're going to be appreciated to everyone that helped you one way or another. Because help can come in two different ways. Someone can harm you to tell you don't go this way. Someone can push you forward. All right? But gotta be helpful for everybody within this. Sorry, Sensei is snoring here. He's very loud. And I'm sorry he's interrupting, but that's how it is. It goes, it is what it is. But yeah, probably that's happening because some of the people they're slipping through their life. They got this chance to be awakened. And they're like, no, I want to sleep. Why did you came out of this? Or to sleep or to be awakened as awakened soul. Some of the things is gonna hit you in your heart. And when you come back and you're looking at it in your soul journey, some of the things gonna hit you. Don't worry about the people who wants to sleep. A lot of the people have issues that, oh, we got awakened in there and he's triggered me or she's triggered me and so on, but they prefer to sleep. They prefer to listen to different things. They don't listen their soul. Great. You are here for your soul first with the divine. And then when you have a partner that is connecting with you and the divine, then the things is gonna take the right purpose. Okay? Gonna take the right purpose. But you need to appreciate it. That journey begins from your bad experience as a sleeper. Okay? Don't hate that. Don't hate that experience in there. Don't be like, oh, I don't like it. You're gonna go back because you have to redo it. Maybe generations before you didn't build it. Maybe generations and things in there. But that is the cause. Okay? You need to be very beautiful and appreciative through the cause of awakening. Okay? Because that's what this journey is about. Very beautiful energy. very beautiful, peaceful. When you find a peace within your journey, I mean, you can mess it up through the journey. You can go around and so on and so on. Once you get everything pretty much okay in there, things is gonna be good. And I hopefully people, you guys watching the video, hopefully this is gonna be this great experience for yourself. Okay, great experience, and I'm so happy that we come out here. We're giving you this energies up here and doing what we're supposed to do. The soul has to be happy. We always are happy when I do videos. Hopefully you're gonna be doing something too, guys. Okay. Hopefully this you don't have to. Maybe your job is gonna be different. Not making videos, not writing books, not talking about soul connection. Maybe your practice will be to practice something in a business. Maybe some of you is gonna be practice something with other people to appreciate it. Maybe some of you is gonna become a priest. Who knows? Okay. But whatever was the reason of awakening, it's gonna be the reason for you to go back in there to get that fire to fix the broken patterns that they woke you up. Back to you, darling.
I just realized that might be the issue for some people that, we're, if you start experiencing those mystical experiences and those, you're getting in touch with those energies that maybe you haven't never felt before and you didn't know that they existed. Many people are wishing to experience more of this, because it's so extraordinary that they would like to have this in their life. And at the same time, they forget to start implementing those energies in their real life. It's like they will be wishing to experience more extraordinary, but okay, but what are you doing? How are you using this potential to actually fix your life? So they will not be making any changes in their life. And we are forgetting that those experiences are happening to us in this very often in the last moments that we are able to make necessary changes. Because otherwise, if you just keep sitting with those vibrations and those unprocessed energies, if you don't start doing necessary changes either on mental level, emotional level, any level, they will start getting working but within your body. And maybe that's what I had to start touch base very quickly today, that be mindful if you've been ignited and you feel that your connection is going nowhere. Just it doesn't mean that you have to stop your journey, because it can have very like not pleasant consequences because your body is not able to process those energies. So you have to find a mean what to do with that. Like they don't come to you for you to experience and be super excited about them and experience those sexual excursions. It's for you, they are showing you potential and they're giving you the potential to change your life and just put yourself into the back, like the right path. Because if you don't do that, it's like they can have some negative consequences because your vibration isn't, it doesn't match the vibration that you received. So it's like once they are in your system, it's, I don't believe there is a way to get rid of them. And I don't want to program anyone here, but I've heard several cases that people, once they decide to leave the journey, their life is really turning upside down, but not always in a good way. So just be mindful about that. It's not to scare anyone here. It's just to be mindful that this is such a big potential that it's coming to you as a help. So try to make the best use of it, because it's really can turn your life for the better. Because if you're starting living fully consciously and not being afraid to implement those changes in your personality, and don't be afraid to people will be saying, oh, you've changed. It's okay. You're changing because it was not working properly in the first place. And just be more comfortable with just getting those higher energies, but you on our human level, and start living through them, then you're getting even more support. And that's how we are supposed to bring those to earth, right? So just a reminder to everyone, like if this experience, if you've chosen this experience coming here, that's your best interest, to try to explore as much as possible. Don't sit with it and don't stay in the, those higher dimensions without doing actually changes in 3D, and you being the same person over and over all your life. Your ignition happened 6 years ago and you haven't changed, for example, and you're still in the same karmic situations, or so it's just a reminder for everyone, I think, just to be mindful that this is like extraordinary help that we are getting almost at the last second, that you're really in the negative side, or you're really diverged from your path.
The that part of the I mean, I think maybe that's what we're going to talk about maybe the next Saturday. Just throwing out things out there, the diverging of the path of your own self. Because here is that the one of the main reasons in there, it's and I seen it through a lot of people that I talk to, consultations and so on and so on. People who share their experience in there. It is that kind of like a uh, walking off the path. And when we're talking about walking off the path, what is the paths are? What are the paths are projecting with your mind in there? And some of the people they are sitting on the path and they're like, what about this person? He has to walk in his path. He has to fix this thing. Okay. So remember, the journey is walked first. When you walk it in there, when you're getting it in there, when it's the things are start going and they start going and flowing, that when the universe is gonna come out and it's gonna show you. Okay. But please, please be truthful to your one self. Okay? Because the truth from within you leads to your truth within the relationship, the truth within the divine, and things you start going to get it to move. Okay? Hopefully this video is going to help you out. I want to say thank you guys for watching. We appreciate it. And there's going to be some more videos came here. If you have any idea about the topic, something that you need to understand, in there, because we went through that ladder. First of all, personal, I went through that ladder quite a bit in there, but then with Paulina, we went through that ladder, and right in here, down there, came out in there, and we were understanding what is it, the personal things in there that needs to be. And this is why we make this journey before the awakening, because right now we are on that stage that we see the journey forward, and what is the purpose. And we're going to be finding the purpose, okay? We want to be showing it to you. When you're looking at within yourself, when you look at it within this experience, I still finding that people have a lack of this soul journey within itself and accepting it, to understand that little important part. Why? Why your soul got awake. Okay? And it's the journey before you awake. Okay, guys? Thank you so much for watching. Looking forward to talk to you next week.
Thanks everyone for listening, and stay around for the next lives. We're always coming with some new ideas, and the way I see it, we are just gonna get broader and broader, because we had some discussions, how we can make this a little bit easier to understand from this bigger perspective, right? Still within the twin flame journey, but just to make this sense, like why the journey, it's having those specific steps, like how you can understand the steps, because it's still a process. So it's like you never know all the steps, but if you start seeing these patterns and how one thing leads to another, it's really helpful. It doesn't mean that it's not easy and not challenging, but at least you're getting some sense of directions, that it's moving in a proper direction. So thanks everyone.
Thank you, guys. Be love. We'll see you next Saturday.
Mhm.